Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. I'm pretty tired. Today is going to be my day to head out of Kansas City. I came here to visit a friend, and realistically over the past couple days we've just been catching up and having kind of just like a chill time, and that was really nice. So now it's time for me to hit the road again, and I'm taking you guys with me. Now originally if I did anything in Kansas City I was going to show you that, but we really just kind of like took the time to just kind of like hang out, and so yeah, it is what it is. But now it's time to get back to the adventures, and I am so excited. My van brings me lots of opportunities, including being able to come to different places and see people that I know, and that was just really pleasant. And so I'm very happy, and I'm re-energized when it comes to my next set of things that I'm going to be doing as a result. But for now, I need to put my blankets away, I need to make up my bed, I need to put on some regular clothes, and I need to check the weather, because apparently today the weather is supposed to be a little off. It's already been raining a little bit, and it was real hard for me to actually make myself get out of bed, because I was just like, ooh, I love the cocoon of rain in the morning. Now, as you can imagine, if you have been on the road before and you've woken up and it's been that gentle, nice rain, it's just real hard to be like, okay, let me move on with my day now. Instead, you just kind of want to hear the rain, and you just want to like envision the feeling of joy, because it's such a refreshing thing to have rain. It brings down all the dust, it makes the air crisp and smell amazing, and if there's any heat in the air, it chills it out just a little bit for the most part. Now, the next couple days, they're kind of anticipating that we might have some storms no matter where I go, so could be interesting. Not sure how that's going to work out, but one thing that I do know is that now over the next couple days, they're anticipating there's going to be lots of gusty winds up to 70 miles per hour, and as you can imagine, that's not pleasant being in like this Midwest section. This year's just been a really strange year as a whole, and last year kind of filtered into the weather shifting, and in doing so, when you have those kind of winds and then you have warmer than normal temperatures followed by rain and then more of those winds, sometimes that can be scary. So I'm going to keep my eye on the weather today for sure, but for now I have to figure out what exactly I'm going to wear for today. Then I have to get ready, gotta load up, I'm gonna say goodbye, and then we're hitting the road. And my first stop might be a Starbucks, because do you see these eyes? They are tired. They are super tired, and I'm gonna blame the rain for that, because obviously. Okay, I gotta throw this back here in its little spot. I also need to put my shower bag back here, so maybe I just leave it there and then I'll get it. I'll figure this out. You know where this is going. This is a great way to just like wake up in the morning, because it's like refreshing. Always get the Tiggers. The Tiggers are just a refreshing joy in the morning. That's why I get these. They're natural. Sitting in the fan, it just blows the cool breeze onto my eyes and my face, and it just feels really invigorating. And then of course I'll do my skincare and stuff like that, but ooh, phase one is doing pretty well. Okay, I made it to the front. I took down some of my window covers. I'm about to take down this big one. Man, the rain is definitely raining right now, so this is going to be interesting as I hit the road. It's always kind of one of those things. It's bittersweet whenever I leave any place that I have been around somebody that I enjoy being around, but it always leads me to the next big adventure, and that way I can turn a page and move to something else more exciting. And so that's what I'm going to be doing today. However, again, the rain is going to kind of dictate that path. I won't be able to do anything outdoors today in this path of rain. So that's kind of why I was leaning more toward, hey, let me find like a coffee shop. Let me download some things. Let me get caught up a little bit. And maybe by this afternoon it will have passed. But for now, I'm just trying to figure out a few things, including these should work. Okay, so I'll be wearing these today. Goodness gracious. You know, being on the road, as long as I am on the road, almost 8 years now, it has been filled with all sorts of interesting things, from brain wrinkles to trials and tribulations to joys to meeting new people to visiting old people. And I think that that's one of the things that makes my personal journey so interesting, is that I have built this world based on how I would like to live and exist in it. I have found ways to find peace. I have expressed myself in ways that allow me to have creativity, and I think that that's really wonderful. But along the way, I can find all sorts of cool things that make me a better person by learning also, and that's been so, so great. With that said, I need a song of the day very badly, so what do I want my song to be? That's going to be a bit of a thinker today because I have no idea. I didn't wake up with anything just like playing in my head. I didn't have like a clear vision for the day that could like inspire the song. So maybe as I'm continuing to kind of go through the process of trying to get myself together, maybe I can figure that out. Okay, there's method to the madness. Everything is controlled. Everything is plugged in. I have my pillows in stow and go, my laptop. Again, everything's plugged in. I need to dump my trash, and yeah, other than that, I think I'm good to go. Okay, last but not least, I cleaned my solar panel, and currently I'm pulling off of the front outlet 31 to 32 watts, so this should be charged up. This is the all power. The Jackery is pulling about 93 in, and it's at 94%, so that one will charge really rapidly. And this is that new Blue Eddy. Currently, the sun is just not giving me anything at this moment, so I'm at 85%. So what I think I'm gonna do is, since I cleaned the panel, give it a moment. It is pretty overcast, so I don't expect too much. Oh, there we go. Every so often, we'll get a couple little watts that's able to crack through when the sky kind of clears a bit, so we'll see how this does. Otherwise, after these others plug in and kind of charge up, I'll move one of the cords. That's why it's so important to have multiple ways of charging, because I have portable panels that are great for when I'm at camp, but obviously when I'm not at camp, I can't just pop them out. So I have the roof panel for down in parking lots and places that I can't necessarily have the van running, and that's super handy. But on days like today, where the sky just looks like this, yeah, that doesn't do a whole lot. So even having solar on top is just kind of like, okay, womp womp. So I make sure if I know that the weather's going to be bad that I hang out, I run the van, I take things in to a place that I can charge them, or I stop at a campsite that has power, or I just, you know, limit my use. I don't use all of my appliances and things like that. So overall though, pretty good shape. So not upset about that. But I have a few more things that I need to check over, because I'm just kind of doing my mental checklist, and today's a good day for that because I'm running a little slow. So this is perfect. I already kicked my tires, already checked the air, stuff like that. My check engine light, unfortunately, is still on. So don't know what to do about that one, but I did notice again that my gas cap is being a little weird, so I'm hoping it's just that, but I'll be monitoring it. I'm gonna get it put on a machine for some codes, definitely, and well, we'll just have to see what happens. Okay, I've been doing some comment responses and things like that. I am about to hit the road, but I figured out my song of the day, and it's kind of a somber one, actually. I was looking through some music and a song came on, and it's a song that I'm super familiar with. It is Into the Road by Boys to Men, and you know, it's kind of an uplifting song despite the fact that it's also kind of a depressing song. And I have a lot of core memories that are attached to this, but like realistically, this is the end of the road for this particular part of the trip. So it kind of makes sense. So let us go to the end of the road. But yeah, that means the next chapter begins. So off to the second leg of this trip we go, and it has stopped raining, so that is positive. Also, everything seems to be charging correctly. Everything seems to be doing really well. And despite that check engine light, I went and checked my gas cap again. It doesn't seem to be making a difference. So I'm just going to be super optimistic. And yeah, I'm going to see this not as a song of sad, but a song of joy. With the weather being nice, other than like the rain and stuff, it's kind of gloomy. And it just kind of puts you in a mood of just like, okay, I'm ready for this. Rain is a way that the world restores itself. It's rebirth. It changes things. It purifies. It makes everything smell better. And as long as it's not like crazy rain, I'm okay with that. So we'll see how much I encounter today, but let's hit the road. Okay, I've been driving for just a little bit, and it looks like the sun has decided to come out, so that's nice. But now I have to make it to my Starbucks still, because I have one thing that I definitely have to do today. And then maybe if it continues to be like this and doesn't get weird until this evening, I can find a cool campsite, or maybe I could find a really interesting activity. We'll see. Oh, I am feeling much more alive though. I was able to, right before I left, just kind of hang out, have some good conversations, and it was much needed. I really appreciated that. So I am feeling good. I am happy. I am on the road, and now we're off to the next series of adventures. Whew, I got some things planned. I've also got some things that I want to kind of share with you guys a little bit more, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, I worked for a while. I got things kind of organized so I wouldn't be like, oh my goodness, the storms are blowing in. So the wind started to progressively pick up. It started to get very dark. It is now very, very windy. We're expecting to get really nasty stuff. I looked at a location that I could stay at, like a Cracker Barrel, because that way I wouldn't be on the road tonight. I may do that. I am going to run by Advanced Auto Care real quick and just see if they can put my van on a machine, tell me what codes come out. Then I can at least know what the check engine light is. There's one right up the road, so that's where I'm off to next. I will say this, just pulling out of the parking lot is hard with the wind though. It is wild. But here we go. I have to figure out how to get to that side of the road and then down. So I think if I go to the opposite side of the Starbucks, there is a road on the other side I can go straight out, because otherwise I have to go in the opposite direction. So wish me luck. Even on days like today where it is just a regular day, there are no dull moments because there's always something happening. And so as I'm kind of trying to just navigate this life that we have, it is definitely interesting sometimes. Also, I didn't completely get everything finished that I needed to work on at Starbucks because the file sizes that I have, I've changed some things. You guys probably can't tell, but I've changed some things, and in doing so, it just takes a little bit longer now. But I knew I had to get over to do this, so I just kind of like got to a place where I could stopped, and then was like, okay, let me proceed. And then also I need to figure out this whole where I'm gonna stay tonight thing. It's still pretty early. It's like just after like 4:30, so technically it's still too early to pull in anywhere, but I know that the weather's supposed to get more aggressive as the night passes, so I'm not trying to like be last minute trying to figure out something and all of a sudden the storm hit and me be like, oh no. Advanced Auto Parts, not Care. Yeah. Like I said, my brain is kind of frazzled at this point, so I just need to figure this out. I just need to make sure it's going to be safe for me to drive. I think it's probably still not as bad as it could be because, again, the van sounds fine, but we're going to find out if they can do this thing. I hope they can. We discussed. Okay, a vapor line. Super fun. Okay, it's super windy. The guy was really cool. He was very nice. So they do a free diagnostic and they just hook it up to your van and then they tell you what the code is or they show you what the code is, in which case you guys can see it's a vapor line. I have no idea what that is, so now I get to do some research just to make sure I'm okay. There's only one code though, so that's good. He said that that shouldn't be something that completely and totally kills me. He thought that with that particular code that I'd probably be okay. At the same time, I am going to check into this and make sure so that I don't have any other issues. And I'm going to send it over to my friend that's here in Kansas City so that he can look at it and be like, hey, yes or no. Because yeah, while I'm here and I'm still in the area, it would be best for me to take care of at least making sure that I'm safe. So, yay. Okay, so now that I got the codes run, there's a few things this could be. It could be a lot of things. The guy kind of walked me through all of the different scenarios. He was like, it could be this. Have you noticed this? The scenarios range from, have you noticed anything under your van when you move it? That could be a cracked fuel tank or a fuel line that is backed off basically. And I was like, no, I'm not noticing those things. He asked me if when I pump gas, if I notice that my fuel gauge goes up and down, and whenever I'm using the gas, if it goes up and down or if it just kind of stays stuck, because that can still be a sensor or it can be a blockage. Not noticing any of those things, but he told me to keep monitoring that. He told me that it could be just the gas cap. He also told me it could be a slow leak of some kind. So those are all things. He also told me that it could still be a variety of other things, because on Nissan, when you run the codes, it could symbolize several different things. So, could be anything from a solenoid that's stuck, which apparently makes a really uncomfortable drive to say the least, or it won't drive. And so he kind of thought that probably wasn't it, to a fuel tank leak, which he said that's a worst case scenario. But if I'm not seeing any kind of liquid, that's probably not it. He also said it could just be a hose of some kind that needs to be tightened up. It could be that. He told me to monitor driving, just in general, not to overexert the van, which I don't really do that anyway, so that's good. And he told me, after I asked him outright, do you think I will be able to make it back to Texas? He said, yeah. I then took that code and I again sent it to my friend and asked him. And then I sent the same code to my dad and asked him, and everyone aligned on that. So I feel confident right now. I feel good that not only did the guy at the Advanced Auto Parts store not try to like rip me off and say you need all these things, which was really nice, but he was also very understanding of the fact that I am a traveler and I need to be able to be safe on the road. And so he just was very forthcoming and said, you know, I could try to sell you a gas cap. You know, we make money off of selling things, but I'm not going to do that because I don't know that that will fix the problem. And I don't want you to spend your money if that doesn't fix it. And I was like, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So the ultimate conclusion is that everything is just going to have to be something that I keep watching. And he checked everything. So I feel really good about that. Now, in regards to the Cracker Barrel, I drove over, I checked it out. Looks like a nice Cracker Barrel. Looks like it's going to be quiet. There's no one camping there right now. I don't love that, but at the same time, like, it's still kind of early, so I get it. So I decided to kind of come across the way, and I'm going to go over to, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a store called Pop Shelf. I've never been there before. I saw that there was one here, so I was like, let me just go and check it out. I might as well. I have time to kill. So that's what I'm doing. As of right now, the winds are still pretty crazy. It's kind of dark. Don't love that. And so I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I want to try to drive south a bit, because I'd have to drive south and pretty far east in order to get away from the complete path of all the crazy. There's almost something a little bit more settling about being around where you have good cell service and emergency services, just in case. So I'm just kind of debating, and I thought this would be a good way for me to just kind of take my mind off of stress for a minute and take a deep breath and stop feeling like I'm breaking out into like hives of crazy. So I'm going to go in the store, see what's inside, because again, never been to one of these, and going to kind of calm my mind. And then I'll make that choice on if I'm going to stay across the street or if I'm going to head down the road. Okay, that place was actually pretty cool. I found some really interesting things there. I ended up getting some bubble teas, and they had a great holiday section, but I don't need a bunch of holiday stuff. If I did, oh my goodness, very reasonable in price points. Not to mention they have dishes there and things like that that were super cute. And it took everything in my being not to get some, because I've been talking about this little project for my tiny home and it would have been great. However, I have to make it back to Texas and I didn't want a lot of breakable things. That just doesn't hold up in the van very well. It just doesn't. So instead, I forewent that and decided to go instead with the bubble teas. And then I did get some skincare because I'm out of a couple skincare items. Whenever I was doing my self-care day, I used the last of one of my items. And so I was like, let's try out something new. I like to stagger my skincare. So very reasonable. I think the most expensive thing I found inside was $12. That doesn't mean that is the most expensive thing, but that's the most expensive thing I saw. $12. That was it. Yeah, not too bad. With that said, I'm having a little bit of just like, I don't know yet. I went and checked out the Cracker Barrel, like I mentioned, and it looked fine. I'm currently checking out the weather maps, though, and the weather maps are making me a little nervous. And I've already left the area where my friend was, again, because my friend had some things going on, and so I thought about driving further south. South would get me beyond where the storm was initially. However, now, in order to get beyond where the storm is, I would have to go kind of far south, and then I would have to also go a little bit more east. So I'm just trying to see if the storm is just going to be like wind and rain, or if the storm is going to turn into tornadoes. If it is, I need to move on. If it is not, and it's just wind and rain, I could camp out at the Cracker Barrel, no problem. I don't like this feeling. I don't like this feeling. I just don't. It's not my favorite part of van life. And nighttime is scary time if you don't know what's coming. Does that make sense? Okay, so I looked at all the maps, and I'm also watching max velocity, and the time to go south is past. Apparently there is some kind of like storm spinning up south, and he said it's not producing a tornado yet, but it could. The same storm that is moving all the way across currently is producing some pretty gnarly stuff in Kansas that could turn into tornadoes. So, I'm just here. I don't know what to do. I made it to the Cracker Barrel. There's no other RVs here. There's no vans here. I think what I'm going to do is call to make sure, even though there's reviews, I'm just going to call to make sure it is okay for me to stay here. And then tonight's going to be a weird night. We're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time. And I hope that it's a better time versus a worse time considering the storms. Yeah. Till next time, guys. Bye.